Very quick 2 minutes revision on the Coleraine controversy. I'm not sure whether it'll come up this year in the documents. It came up last year, so it might not. But look, let's just do a quick review as quick as we can. I'll try to condense everything. I didn't do a mind map on this one, but I'll try to condense everything as much as I can. So what do we know? Okay, so it's obviously a significant event in the history of Northern Ireland, and the reason is because for Catholics especially, it highlighted the degree of discrimination experienced by their community since the foundation of the state of Northern Ireland in 1920. Don't forget, the state of Northern Ireland was founded under the Government of Ireland Act of 1920 when 6 counties of Northern Ireland, remember them by Fat Dad, Fermanagh, Armagh, Tyrone, Down, Antrim, Derry, were separated from the rest of the island into a new state which would have its own parliament. The Unionist population at the time was about 60% of those counties. The approximate Catholic population was about 40%, and this was an attempt by the British government to stave off civil war in Ireland. The British government at the time was fighting the War of Independence in Ireland. There was an acknowledgement that no matter what the outcome of the War of Independence was, that Unionists would never accept any form of integration into an independent Ireland. So the solution was to give Unionists home rule. So home rule for Northern Ireland, what does that mean? Parliament in Stormont, a parliament which would be dominated by that majority Protestant population. And essentially the idea, if I can simplify it down into terms that are probably too simple, was the 6-county state was a state for the Protestants, and then the other 26 counties would be a state for the Catholics. But of course, that was a ridiculous and doomed plan, because there's a huge number of people live in Northern Ireland in those 6 counties. It's their home, it's where they're from, it's their identity, and they're not going to just leave. So throughout the 1920s, 30s, 40s, 50s and 60s, the Catholic population of Northern Ireland suffered real discrimination. If you ever want to just get a little bird's eye view of it, read Seamus Heaney's poem, A Constable Calls. It really does give a little indication. And Catholics were discriminated against in all forms of civic life, employment, housing, education, and policing. And by the 1960s, there was a new generation of young Catholics who had been educated as a result of reforms in Britain. Northern Ireland was part of Britain in the 1950s. And those reforms meant that poorer people from working class areas, got to go to university. So you had this new generation of people like Seamus Mallon, people like John Hume, people like Bernadette Devlin, who became Bernadette McCalliskey, people like Jerry Fitz. This new generation of Catholics who were educated and weren't happy with the state of Northern Ireland as a sectarian state as they perceived it. And Coleraine and the Coleraine Controversy and the decision about where to locate the new university for Northern Ireland, what lay at the heart of the sense that Catholics were not being treated fairly, and the rise in tensions in the state in that period of the 1960s. So as I said, the British government, Northern Ireland was part of Britain, and by the 1960s the British government had decided to fund a new university in Northern Ireland. There was already a university in Belfast called Queen's University, but it was overcrowded and it wasn't capable of expanding to the level that was required, so a new university was needed. As I said, one of the reasons for the need for that university was the increased number of Catholics attending university due to the Welfare State Act of 1945, which opened up university by basically essentially paying fees for poorer people to go. The understanding very simply was that there was a need for a university west of the Bann. The Bann is the river which separates west from east in Northern Ireland, and the big city in west of the Bann is Derry. So the Lockwood Commission was this group of, I suppose, experts who were set up by the government to decide, okay, let's have a look, let's do a report, let's do an investigation. Where will we locate the new university? And the pressure was on the Commission to decide to set it up west of the Ban because that was an economically disadvantaged area. So you bring a university in, you bring money in, you bring students, you bring investment. And the pressure was to have it in Derry. Now, Derry already had a college called Magee. And Magee College, it was argued, could just be expanded and upgraded to fit the new university. But Lockwood found that Magee College was not suitable to be upgraded. That led to real anger in Derry, and interestingly, both Protestant and Catholic leaders were in support of bringing that university to Derry because they knew the economic benefits of the university. But the fact is that the university was given to Coleraine, not to Derry. Robert Nixon, the Unionist MP, he said that the Prime Minister of Northern Ireland, Terence O'Neill, had been influenced by what he called faceless men. When the decision to give the university to Coleraine, which is a town in the west of Northern Ireland, but not in Derry, when the decision was made, 15,000 people signed a petition against the university, but that groundswell of public support was ignored. And this was seen to be a decision that was made purely because it would increase the number of Catholics living in Derry, and it would therefore upset the balance of power in Derry. And it was believed that Catholics, nationalists, would gain political control in Derry. So the narrative was that the reason that this decision was made to place this new university in Coleraine rather than in Derry was sectarian. And to Catholics, to nationalists, the Coleraine Controversy, the decision by the government of Northern Ireland to locate the new university anywhere other than in Derry, was emblematic of the unfairness and the systemic sectarian discrimination that they experienced on a daily basis. And it led to heightened tensions and increased friction between the two communities, which, as you know, exploded with the after the Apprentice Boys March in 1969 and the beginning of the Troubles. I said that'd be short. I think it's short. I hope that makes sense.